Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we took on the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round of the playoffs, and we could not beat them, which was pretty unfortunate. The main reason why I'd say it was unfortunate, obviously, is because I thought our team was going to be a cup contender. Unfortunately, we ended up losing to the team that ended up winning the Stanley Cup, which is kind of what I anticipated after a few of the games early on. As you can see, we lost 6-3, so not a good defensive performance. We responded with a 4-3 victory, so at that point it was still anybody's series, but then we lose in overtime 3-2, just barely. We lose 3-0 to go down 3-1. So at that point, I'm like, either we're going to be out in 6 games or we're just not going to find a way to get back into this at all. We did win the next game 5-4, so it was another close game, and then we lost 3-2. So a lot of the games were actually decided by only one goal, so maybe we could have won that series, but unfortunately we just didn't have the skill level to pull off some overtime wins or not. And yeah, kind of unfortunate considering we had the better of the two regular seasons. So hopefully this upcoming offseason we could continue to just maintain this roster, get it going for another season, and hopefully this team could make it back to the playoffs again next year, because obviously we did have the chance that there was going to be some retirements in last episode. There was only one retirement to an AHL guy in Bure. Aside from that, we did not lose Staubitz, we did not lose Ristolainen, and we did not lose Norena. So those three guys will be back again for next season, which is kind of scary because it is the last year of their contracts for Ristolainen and for Staubitz. So I'm kind of hoping that they retire before this contract fully ends, because obviously, if they do not retire, these guys are probably going to demand a good chunk of money, likely. I mean, it could drop off for Ristolainen because you can see he's down to an 87 overall, but I'm still worried that these guys might cost us a lot of money, and I don't know if we're going to have necessarily a lot of money. Also, Staubitz is still on a fantastic deal at $10.795 million as well, but yeah, he's a 90 overall, so maybe he's not going to drop off too quick. Like, maybe he has still a few more years left in him. Meanwhile, I feel like Ristolainen could retire before him. And then from a defensive standpoint, you can see Norena has dropped down to an 81 overall. So Norena probably going into his last season, my guess. After all, he was a pretty good steal, so I feel like steals usually retire quite early on. So I feel like this could be his last season coming up. But other than that, there shouldn't be any other retirements coming this upcoming season. As you can see, after that, Kolarz is the next oldest at 32. But we're starting to turn into a little bit of an old man club. But hopefully we could try to find a way to win a Stanley Cup before all these guys start to retire, because we do have one cup in a series, but it would be nice to kind of give them one more chance. But anyways, before we get into, once again, another offseason, let's get in your guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll get into the draft resign stage and set up our team again for another season. So the first comment is from Michael Dos, who says, was at the game sitting on the blue line and he wasn't offsides as the skate was in the plane of the line. LOL. I think the small chemistry numbers of your four lines costed you in the playoffs. So he used to just joking around because obviously the game against Chicago, there was a play that looked like it was offside. To me, I'm not too sure still if it was offside or not, but he's saying that he was at the game and he saw that play and he could tell that it was actually onside. He's a Blackhawks fan, so that's why he's saying that, but who knows if it was actually offside or not. Let me know what you guys think of it. But he also says, though, I think the small chemistry of your numbers costed your and your four lines costed you. So I tend to agree. Obviously, we can't take a look at our lines right now because we're in the offseason, but I think the chemistry wasn't the best on the offensive side of things. From a defensive standpoint, it was pretty damn good, but the offensive core, I feel like we didn't really have that much pluses aside from our top lines. So obviously, we might have to look at like maybe scheme fitting like some of our lines and stuff like that to start next season if we want to at the 1st of October, something like that. And then we can see if that helps our team progress a little bit more, but we could always just keep it the same if we want to, because honestly, I don't really know if I care too much about winning another Stanley Cup or not, but it would be nice to get that offensive core doing the best that they can as well. The next two comments are from Garage TV. The first one says, Gionta is unreliable. Norena let him have the puck, RIP, and time to say goodbye to Rick Kim. Small upgrades, but we'll make the cup next year. So he's saying about Gionta being unreliable. To me, Gionta's been a bit of an inconsistent goalie at times. Yes, he has been unreliable in the playoffs before. I still think he's probably one of the best goalies we've had in this year. In terms of regular season numbers especially, like he's got a .913 save percentage through 413 games, which is pretty impressive. You go to his playoff numbers, he's actually got a .912, so he doesn't actually do that bad in the playoffs. Like Early in his career, he had a 923 in one playoff game, which is pretty damn good. Then he went down to a 921 in 15 games, which is good. He didn't win the Stanley Cup with a 904, so the Stanley Cup that we won, he was a bit inconsistent that run for sure. There was games where he was really good. There was games where he was really bad. The year afterwards, even though we got eliminated at 918, same with the year after that, a 915. And in this year, he was a 901, which was the worst of his career. But in general, he seems to have some pretty good playoffs as well. So I think this guy is honestly probably one of the best goalies that I've had in a franchise mode, like I said, since probably like NHL 20 around at least, just based in terms of his save percentage throughout his career, because you usually see goalies in franchise mode tend to simulate kind of bad where they all have like 9.0 save percentages or below. But for Gionta, like if we sort by his save percentage in his career, you can see that he's got the 923 save percentage 2 times, once as a backup, once as a starter. He's got a 917, 916, 914, 912. And then there's only like 2 seasons in the NHL that are below a 910 save percentage, which is pretty damn good. So he does put in a good effort every single night, I think. But obviously, at times he's pretty bad, but other times he's very good. Garage also says, I would do the deal with Dunham, just lower the amount and about a bar. Kim has to go. Keep Hunwick. Peterson depends on what he's asking for, but could be okay for the third line, but also could also go. Doig and Comrie are keeps. Heatley and Lambert can also go. So he's saying a lot of players could go, which makes sense. There is players in the bottom 6 that we could let go for other guys, because we are going to have to free up some cap space regardless, and we could call up some guys from the AHL. So we probably will end up doing what he was saying with who we could keep and who we'll let go of. I'm still not too sure on Peterson, because he might be too expensive because of the fact that we do still have Cashman. If I didn't have Cashman re-signed, I probably would prefer Peterson to come back, but at the same time, Cashman can basically jump where Peterson was last season. And then I do agree about Rick Kim probably leaving the team as well, just because Rick Kim, he's asking for way too much money, and he has been good at times, but also he's been pretty mid the last 2 years, which I don't understand why, because a couple years ago he was a 70-point guy, but now he's down to like a 50-point guy. So hopefully he doesn't drop off too hard, but yeah, we're probably not going to be bringing him back, which is going to be a little bit of a blow to our top 6 for sure, but hopefully we could do well without him. In the last and final comments from Sound Taco says, you're right about a team that runs backups in the playoffs being cheese. It's too bad you have to use Malkin as a backup again. Maybe the coach will adjust to running them as a 1A, 1B tandem. Kim has to go, and you can also release any other bottom 6 forwards to make way for the young kids coming up. Definitely take the low league grinder if he's still available. Otherwise, it truly doesn't matter who you pick. Might as well roll the dice with players who might be elite but aren't fully scouted. And yeah, for the draft, honestly, we might as well just take a chance with some players, because we're at the stage where a lot of players aren't going to make it regardless before the end of this year. So if there's a chance that they're elite, we might just take a chance and see if they actually are that good or not. Some of them might end up being like low top 9s or bottom 6 forwards, but it's all right. But yeah, he's also saying about letting go of Kim and also any bottom 6 forwards. So technically at the moment, if we look at our forward depth chart and we go to, I have to go all expiring. Who is the bottom 6 guys he's talking about? I guess that means technically Heatley, Lambert, Patrick. Yeah, Heatley, Lambert, and Patrick for sure. I think those 3 guys. Comrie, I think I could bring back, but I also don't really know where he fits on this team. I might just qualify him so we have some depth at least, maybe in the NHL or AHL. But aside from that, I don't know where he's going to play, like I said. There is a chance that Kopitz gets into our lineup next season. Ashton, I'm maybe going to try next year. Depends on where he's fitting in. The other guys aren't really ready yet. And then there's also a guy that we could be drafting this year as well that could jump into our bottom 6 if he's NHL ready or not. So that will be interesting once we get to that point. But what else was it? Oh yeah, he also said that we might be having to run a 1A, 1B tandem if the coach brands on it, which I'm kind of hoping the coach does, because Malkin is a good goaltender. Don't get me wrong, 85 at 23. Like, he's technically ready to take Gionta's spot. However, I kind of like Gionta more, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably qualify Malkin. And then, obviously, in a few years, Malkin would be a UFA at around the same time, I think, as Gionta. And then I probably could prioritize whichever goalie I want. I know Gionta's probably going to be dropping off by that time, so it probably makes sense to go with Malkin over Gionta, but it would be nice to have Gionta stay here for his entire career if it was doable, but I don't know if it will be doable by that stage. So, But yeah, we'll definitely just keep qualifying Malkin for a little bit, obviously, so we can kind of get him for the cheapest as possible. So anyways, before we get actually into this draft, though, we do need to give a contract extension out to Dunham, because what Garage TV was mentioning, he said to lower the interest by a bar. So as you can see, Dunham wants a 6-year deal. If I go 8-year deal, how much does he want again? 9.2. That's actually not that bad. He's actually pretty close to being interested in that. So I should be able to actually get him on an 8-year deal if I lower it down by 2 bars around, because he does have that organizational interest. And I think he's important to lock up. I know it's going to be a little bit of a risk because of the fact, obviously, that Staubitz and Ristolainen are both pending free agents at the end of the upcoming season. But Eugene Dunham is probably the future, basically, on this team. So I'm just hoping that kind of maybe we lose somebody like Narena at the end of the year, because that will at least free up cap space and all that. But let's give Dunham what he's asking for pretty much for 8 years and see if he'll accept. Because 8.4, to be honest, is a pretty solid for a top 6 forward. So we'll see if he accepts that. It shouldn't take me too long to decide about your extension offer. Talk to you in a bit. Thank you, Dunham. Hopefully you do accept after the draft, because that's when we'll probably find out. We might as well sign him since we're going to be letting go for Kim anyways, because Dunham probably will be still either that second line right winger, or there's a chance that he might take over that top line right wing spot if Staubitz drops off too much. So I think this is a good little deal for our team to make at this point in time. So with that said, I think we're ready to hop on into the draft. Who was that player again that I was mentioning before that Sanrotaku said I should take? Let me go to him again. I think I have him pinned. Let's just see. It was Robertson probably, right? Yeah, Robertson. So this is the guy I'm going to be leaning towards taking in the first round. He's a lowly grinder that's NHL ready. He's a guy that I would obviously be playing in the bottom 6 to replace somebody like Patrick once we let him go. So hopefully we can grab him. We should be able to. And then there's also some other guys that are guaranteed that I'll probably end up taking if I have the chance to. So hopefully it's a decent draft for us. Not that it matters too much, because at this stage a lot of these guys aren't going to make the NHL before the end of the series unless they're NHL ready. So let's just hope that we have a good draft, and hopefully the re-sign stage goes smoothly and we can bring everybody back on a decent price point that we want to, at least. Alright, 2042 draft. We're kind of getting close to the end of the series. We only have like 5 more years left, I think, of this franchise mode, maybe 6. So it's kind of scary that we're kind of this close to the end already. And what makes it even scarier is my 2010 build is still not done yet. I'm down to like the last 80 players or so, I think, to make. And then I also have to just get rid of like anybody that pops up in free agency that shouldn't from the European leagues. So still got some work to do, but I'm excited to see what it looks like once I get it done, because I think it's going to be one of your guys' favorite roster builds, and I'm excited to put that out. So anyways, with that said, let's see what this top 5 of the draft is looking like. It's Florida, Pittsburgh, New York, New Jersey, and Minnesota. Interesting mix, okay? So the Florida Panthers with the first overall selection are going to select Shing, who's an 82 overall sniper. All right. 82 overall sniper, Junior Shing. All right. Yeah, it looks pretty balanced. You probably could take some face-offs too. Actually has some pretty good physical attributes for a sniper too. So shout out to Junior Shing. He has big rig as a 5'9" guy, which is also kind of funny, and relentless too. Interesting. So for a small guy, he plays big, which is kind of neat. All right, Pittsburgh at number 2 is going to select Costi, Brendan Costi. He is a left wing sniper, so he's the opposite wing, obviously. Looks pretty similar to the other guy, just a little bit worse physically, but in general, both these guys are pretty similar. This guy has make it snappy and stick him up. It's kind of funny, though, because this guy that's 6'3" doesn't have big rig, but the 5'9" guy does. So this guy's big, but he's not as strong on the puck as a 5'9" guy. Rangers at 3 are going to select a Ludwig, who is an 80 overall center playmaker, so the first playmaker off the board, and he does have all alone. Interesting. Looks also pretty balanced, has some decent physical attributes for playmakers, so all-around solid talent. Really good skater, though. Like, he's got 88 agility and 88 speed, 87 acceleration. Goddamn. This guy's a quick man. He's only 17, too, so he's a younger guy in this top 5. All right, New Jersey is going to select Festerini. I haven't seen that name in a while. I feel like I had a Festerini back in, like, NHL 17, maybe, but I don't know for sure. But Amrit Festerini, what a name. Looking like this, he is a two-way defenseman, no X factors, 6'3", 190 pounds, so he might need to bulk up a little bit for his height, but pretty damn solid. This is New Jersey gets himself the defenseman to maybe build around. And finally, Minnesota at number 5 is going to select Rupert. Todd Rupert, who's got Make It Snappy, and he's a two-way forward, okay? Interesting. So that's the top 5 of the draft, and all these guys are 80 and above, so that's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Like, any of these guys that were like 3 and 4 and stuff like that could have went second overall, so a decent top 5. Maybe that bodes well for our pick later in the draft, which is supposed to be NHL ready, so I'm hoping that low lead, if we grab him, I'm hoping he's like a 78, because that would be a fantastic pickup for our bottom 6. And that guy could grow to easily being a third liner within a season or so if he's that high. But let's simulate to our selection at 28 and see what went before our selection here. So Gannon top 6, Loophole top 6. Any crazy steals here though? That's where that I'm looking to see. We are going to be able to get our guy, which is good. A high top 9 went to Vegas. Well, at least it went to Vegas. Because I don't care if they make bad selections. 77 overall top 6 in dance. That's a pretty damn good overall. 78 top 6, 13th overall. 78 overall top 4 defenseman. So there's some pretty high overall players here at this part of the draft. So, ooh, a medium elite 79 overall, 9th overall. Bissonnette going to Vancouver. God damn. All right, this looks like it's pretty good in terms of overall ratings. Like Doherty, who even went 6th overall, is an 81 overall. So there's a chance that this low lead's going to be really interesting. I'm hoping, since it says that he's NHL ready, that he actually is NHL ready. I'm assuming he's going to be a little bit lower because his puck skills and senses aren't the best, but he's got good shooting, good skating, good physical, good defense, and he's a grinder. So that's kind of neat. I wonder what overall this guy's going to be. I'm going to guess a 76 or 77, something like that. I don't know if he's going to be a 78 or 79. If he's at 80 plus, that'd be insane. But Braden Robertson is going to be jumping right to our NHL team next season, likely. So welcome aboard to Mr. Robertson. And he's a 78. Okay, well, that's better than anticipated. Like I said, I was thinking 76, 77, but I also did feel like a 78 would be good. That's a really good steal. And as a 78 overall low league grinder, what is this guy's ceiling? Is he going to stay like this for his entire career, or is he going to jump up to like an 85 and as a grinder? He also has an X factor. God damn, I was not expecting that. He does have shutdown. Elite rush defending. So this guy is going to be a fantastic penalty killer. Maybe take 2 million penalties as well, though, because this is his attributes in case you guys wanted to see them fully in depth. You can see he's very physical. He's got great skating. His defensive ratings are pretty good. Like, he could also take face-offs, which is pretty damn useful, especially for like a third-line kind of guy. His shot power is good. His accuracy, not so much. His offensive awareness and stuff, not the best. But he should be pretty damn good defensively and reliable because he's also got that X factor, which I was not expecting. So, shout to Braden Robertson. That might be one of our better picks in this round. He's also listed as a fourth-line forward, so that means officially that the Enforcer Patrick will probably be gone, because we'll probably replace him with the Grinder instead, just because the Grinder would probably take around the same amount of penalties or more than him. Like, there's a chance that this Robertson guy is going to be like really crazy aggressive. Like, I think I've seen Grinders give more penalties than Enforcers in this game, so I feel like this guy could be like a penalty minute king, which he takes like 200 plus penalty minutes potentially. So hopefully he's a little bit more disciplined. Like, how good is his discipline actually? His discipline is an 80. So maybe he doesn't take as much, because that's actually a pretty decent discipline. But if he takes too many penalties, that's not going to be great. But at the same time, I'm excited to see what this kid can do on a fourth line role in the NHL right away. So that's going to be exciting. All right, let's simulate to our next pick at 61 and see if we can find any steals here. We are going to have to call the timeout, though, just because I do want to see what went before our selections, just for fun. Because it's kind of fun sometimes to see what the AI selects ahead of us, if they got any steals. There's Schustrom, a low lead defenseman. Ludwig Schustrom going to the Jets. Decent steal there. Medium elite goaltender in Liam Blomstrand. All right. Pretty good steal there for Florida. They get themselves a starting goaltender, basically. Chevier, a 66 overall low lead sniper, going to the Jackets. All right. Yeah, there's some pretty good steals in this draft in terms of elite potential players. Medium elite goalie in Lawson. And there's still top 6 forwards going in as part of the draft, too, a little bit. So this is definitely one of the stronger draft classes I've seen, I think. in a while. There is some actually top 60s and top 9s, but some good steals, though, which makes the draft a little bit better. All right, let's make our selection here in the second round. Now, the question is for the rest of these rounds, what the heck are we going to take? Because we are going to have to take a chance that some of these guys are elite when they're not, probably. We do still have 4 pin guys left. I could go for the guy that's supposed to go around this point, which is a medium elite goaltender and Caleb Bachman. You know what? I don't think that's a bad option. Let's get ourselves another goaltender prospect. So let's go with Bachman here. 54 overall, so we do get ourselves a goaltender of the future. Maybe this guy makes it before the end of the series if he gets a lot of growth, but I highly doubt it. He could end up being a backup to Malkin if he does make it before the series ends. But for right now, obviously, Gianta's the guy, so I don't mind that selection. Let's go to 94 now. And we'll see what went before selection a little bit here in this round. See if there was any crazy steals that we weren't really expecting. Let's see. A lot of top 9s and top 60s. Yeah, this draft has dropped off a bit, but still some good overall ratings. There's a random Frenchman. That's interesting. Tiny Thorn. Oh, my Tiny Thorn. That's actually a kind of funny meme name. I got to get a screenshot of that. Tiny Thorn from France. I don't even know what that would be translated to in French, but damn, that's funny. Tiny Thorn, huh? All right, so we're at 94, so then these guys are supposed to go this round. So is there anybody else that could be interesting? Any other gems, maybe? No, only the guy that I had pinned. Let's sort by scouting rank. I could take Tiny Thorn for the memes, or I could just try and go off the board here, but Tiny Thorn's a good guaranteed medium 6. But I'm not seeing maybe anybody that's supposed to be a little elite here around. Let's see. Medium elite 99 is Anderson. We did see Anderson, but I don't think he's going to be that good. You know, I think I'm just going to do for the memes, I'm going to take Tiny Thorn. I think it's funny, and I think I'm okay with taking a meme pick here. Might as well give a chance to Tiny Thorn. I don't know if he'll make our NHL team at any point, or even maybe our AHL team, but still good for the memes. So there is Tiny Thorn, and he is going to join the Aliens. That's a funny pick. Tiny Thorn. Whereas number 35 is a defenseman. Kind of a weird number for a D-man, but I will take it. We have had some good Frenchmen on this team before in Cappaduca. Speaking of Cappaduca, what the heck is he even up to nowadays? Because I don't even know what team he's on now. I almost forgot about Jesus Cappaduca. Hopefully he's having a fun time wherever the heck he is. Because I think I forgot to take a look at where he went. Or maybe I did take a look at where he went, but I completely forget where he went. Alright, so our next selection at 127 here. We do still have a couple of the pin guys that we had left. We might as well start going on a little bit off the board. There's another medium elite goaltender. I don't want to have too many medium elite goalies in the system, though. That's the only thing. I think I'm going to go off the board here and go for Andy Wall, just get him done with, and then we could try and find some other players afterwards. But Wall's only at 20, as a 20-year-old, he's a 57 at 20, which is not great. But maybe he pans out, maybe he doesn't. We'll see. But he's 20 years old already, so hopefully he's one of those low elites that get a lot of growth within a year. And then we have a couple more selections to make here. Alright, so now we have nothing that's on our board. So the question is, there is still Andronov, but I honestly don't even know if I should draft Andronov or not. I might draft him 7th round if I don't find anything else, but let's go off the board a little bit here. There is Plus, who could be elite. Let's take a chance on him. I honestly don't even know at this stage. Medium 9. I mean, that's okay for the time period for where we're drafting right now. It's not too bad, but I don't think he's going to pan out. Couple more picks to go, 2 more selections. We'll do this one. We could take the goaltender, I guess, because he's actually supposed to go early 7th round. So let's take just a chance on another goaltender. Might as well. Andronov, welcome aboard. 47 overall, medium elite. Pretty decent steal for this stage, and we would probably call this guy this guy's almost like the Ukrainian version of Andy Andreyov. Or Andreoff. That's who I'm trying to say. Andy Andreoff. You guys have known him, the former LA Kings guy, Philadelphia Flyer. That's who I'm thinking of when I see this Andronov guy. All right, our last selection at 226. The question is, can we find a crazy steal here this late in the draft? Probably not. There is this guy who could be in lead, but I'm not too sure. Doug Polachek. He is 19 years old. He's got some good maturity and character, apparently. Is that a good thing for our team to grab at this stage? Maybe. I'll pin him in case, but let's see what else there is. Ram just saying, do I want to take a Rammer? Probably not. This guy's lowly 2 bars, but he's also supposed to go undrafted. He's already 20. Let's just go with Polacek. There's not really anybody else here at this stage. So Doug Polacek, welcome aboard. Medium 7th, not very good, but it is what it is. Not a bad draft, I'd say, for us. But obviously, we don't really care too much about the draft. But Robertson's very intriguing. I think he's going to have an interesting rookie season. I think he could lead the league in penalty minutes if he is that aggressive, but I also think he can maybe give us some good defensive stuff on the PK and all that. Hopefully he doesn't take penalties while penalty killing, though, because that would be a bad thing. But he's going to join our 4th line next season. And obviously we got a bunch of other kind of interesting picks. Wall could be interesting down the road. Bachman and Andronov, I don't know if they're going to make it before the series ends, but at least they have some potential too. So that is our draft. Now comes the re-sign stage, and we'll find out probably soon here if Dunham is going to accept his contract extension, which is exciting. So looking forward to that. We got advanced today, I guess, still too, till we're in the actual re-sign stage. So we'll probably find out here if he will accept or not. All right, so the question is, did Dunham accept that contract extension before the re-sign stage? And looks like he did. Maybe? I'm not too sure. But we do got to bring back our associate coach. So he wasn't a great fit here, was he? I might honestly still just bring him back anyways for the time being. Yeah, I'll just bring back Quincy for the time being. He actually wants to be a head coach, though, so there is a chance that we might not be able to bring him back. But for the time being, let's just bring him back. And we also got some scouts. I want to find out about Dunham as soon as possible, but hopefully he accepted his contract extension, because then we could figure out the rest of those guys in this re-sign stage afterwards, because Dunham's the big guy to bring back. And I think his contract extension we gave him is a fair one. He looked like he had interest in it, so hopefully he didn't just all of a sudden make his asking price go way up, because that would be not great. Like I said, I think he's definitely going to be the replacement for Stelwitz on that top line once Stelwitz decides to drop off completely or retire, which I feel like I would hope that he retires before he drops off crazily. So just because I don't really want to be running him as like a 4th line option in a sense, I would prefer him being on that top line all the time if possible, because it's kind of annoying when you have to give them a reduced role. Like in my Halifax series last year, I think I had to do that with like Wilm, if I remember right. Like Wilm was just dropping off a cliff, but I still had to run him in like kind of a low end role and power play time. I can't even remember exactly. Alright, so that should be all the scouts that I need to deal with, so that's good. And Dunham has accepted the offer enthusiastically. Resigning with a team that's in contention for the Cup is a no-brainer. So he says we're still in contention for the Cup too, which is nice to see. Wonder if he'll think about that after we have this re-sign stage. But getting Dunham dealt with is exactly what we wanted to see to start this episode pretty much. So we do only have $20 million now in cap space, so that is not necessarily very good because Hunwick's a big contract extension probably. We are going to sign Robertson to his ELC because, like I said, he's jumping to the 4th line next season. Newbury's up to a 75 at 19. When did I draft this guy? When did I draft him again? First round, 29th overall. God damn, this guy got a lot of growth in 1 year. He's not AHL eligible yet, but he's very close to making our NHL team too. I'll probably wait on him. Cogliano is, well, wow, Cogliano's up to 70 at 20. Damn, some of our prospects got a lot of good growth. I might have to wait on Cogliano, though, just because he's not AHL eligible, I think. Let's go to our UFA AHLers here, because I am going to let go of a lot of them, because we do need to free up some roster space, potentially, for guys like Krejcik especially. So let's get Krejcik signed for the AHL, which means in that sense, I will probably let go of Corso. I'm also going to be letting go of Tuomainen, because I do got to get like McLeod into the lineup and Petterman. Man, there's a lot of good AHLers coming in. I like the looks of that. Some reinforcements, hopefully that might make our NHL team before the series end, which means I'm going to also let go of DeVoe because he's already 27. Sagan I'm going to bring back potentially here. He wants a one-way deal. Damn. I wasn't expecting that. Segal's got to come back as well. Yeah, we'll bring Segal back. Markkanen is a medium 9. He's a 68. That's pretty decent, but he's already 22. So I'm just going to let some of those type of guys walk because I don't think they're going to be useful before the series ends. So we'll go with that. Like I said, we're going to let go of a lot of the bottom 6 guys. So let's start off with Heatley, who's been here for quite a long time. I'm going to let go of him for the time being. Heatley's been here for, just a decent chunk of time. He's actually only been here since 2037, but he also spent a good chunk in the AHL as well. He's been a decent player, don't get me wrong at times. Like his playoff numbers one year, like when we won the Stanley Cup, like 9 points. Like he was pretty damn good in those runs, but unfortunately we're going to have to let him go just because we got to let some people go. So Heatley, best of luck in free agency, my man. Lambert as well probably would let go of. I got to take a look at your guys' comments again just in a second. Oh, I didn't want to open up Discord. God damn it. Why did I open up Discord? I was trying to minimize my tab. Just give me a second here. I need to close my Discord. Let's go with close that. Boom. Okay, now I'm good. Okay, now let's take a look at those comments again. Seatley and Lambert could also go. So, yeah, Lambert can go. Doig and Comrie are keeps. Yeah, Doig obviously is a keep for sure. But with the cap money we have left, it's going to be a little bit pricey, I think. But yeah, we're going to let go of Lambert here. I didn't even do a salute to Lambert, but salute to him as well. Oops. And I'm also salute the Enforcer for a second here. He's only played like 2 seasons with us, but doesn't really do too much. He could come back at some point. He was a plus 22 last season, which is pretty damn impressive, but we might as well free up some roster space with him for now. And then these other guys, Rick Kim's got to go. This one we're going to do a big salute to because obviously he's been here for a while and he's been one of our better players at times. But there's also Peterson that probably has to leave because $19 million in cap space to re-sign these guys is probably a lot of money, especially with Humwick still there. But let's get these other RFAs signed up here. At least these guys still want 2-way deals because that's going to make it a little bit easier for us to afford them. But, yeah, we are going to have to make some more tough decisions here. But I think our AHL team is going to be pretty damn good. There's a chance that that offensive defenseman I drafted not too long ago is going to be NHL ready to start the season, which is also pretty damn sick. Because he could definitely be like a full-on replacement for Narena when Narena retires. So I am going to probably qualify Comrie. Yeah, I'm going to qualify Comrie because I don't know where I'm going to fit him in. I might honestly play him in the AHL next season, something like that. I'm not too sure yet. Hunwick, I would love to lock him up potentially. Wow. He wants most of the cap space we have left. God damn. 7.95. He does have a good amount of organizational interest. He wants a clause involved. It's good that he wants term here. I could probably afford to give him term, but I got to take a look at what like Doig is asking for and stuff like that. Doig's asking for $3 million for 2 years. We could definitely drop this down though by like 2 bars though, which is good. 2.825. You know what? That's not bad for a bottom 6 option. Let's see if Doig will accept that. Mahalik, what is he asking for? 2.675. That's a bit pricey, man. But there's also like Sagan who could take over his spot. There's some other guys that can. Sagan wants a one-way deal, but I think I should be able to give him this because $9.25 to me is like pretty dirt cheap. So we might as well give it to him as a depth defenseman. And then Mahalik. Do I want to bring back Mahalik or not? I got to take a look at our other defenders in a sense. And then our goaltending, I forgot that we also have to qualify Malkin here. So let's just qualify him while we have the chance to. Langlois, I will sign you back up for the AHL because you're good enough for the AHL again. So boom. UFAs, we don't have any UFA goaltenders, which is good. Let's advance a day and just see if these guys accept so I can kind of see how much money we have left to spend. Apparently, the coach did decide to accept the money. Just because he was more interested he was more interested in signing as a head coach somewhere, but he does like the money, so he's going to stick with us apparently. But we could still look to replace him potentially. And also we have all these scouts to deal with, which is kind of annoying too. But oh man, my voice is trying to die on me. Doig decides to resign it, so that is very good for our team's bottom 6. Let's see, did we get any rejections on our contracts? No. Okay, so we have $18.39 million Hunwick needs a lot of money. These two guys probably both leave. Rick Kim obviously leaves for sure, so let's already salute to Rick Kim. Take a look at his stats here as a member of the Aliens. 602 points in 816 games. Like, he definitely had some really good years here, but his last 2 seasons have definitely not been as good, especially that 44-point season. So, shout out to Rick Kim. How much playoff stuff? 87 points in 126 playoff games. Yeah, he was really good the year we won the Cup with 23 points, but he was minus 12 somehow. So, yeah, shout out to Rick Kim. 2nd round pick. I think he was supposed to go later than that, and we just took him early, but we are going to let him go because he's probably asking for like 15 million, something like that, my guess, right? $10 million. That's too much money. So, shout out to Rick Kim. One of the, not necessarily OG Aliens, but one of the better guys that we've had on this team. He will head to free agency. Peterson, do I need Peterson back? Like I said, Cashman could take that 2nd line spot. Comrie could be 3rd line. Kopitz could be 4th line. I don't necessarily need Peterson back, and the asking price is probably too substantial. Yeah, $8 million is kind of a bit pricey. Like, see, if I didn't have Cashman signed, I'd be bringing back Peterson because Peterson would be actually cheaper than Cashman, I think. Yeah, he would be. Like, we could drop this down to, like, looks like maybe around 6.9. That's actually pretty good, but I don't know if I would hold on to him at that price point. Because, like I said, we could just play Comrie as a 3rd line center next season, and it would be less cost effective, basically. I do really like Mauricio, though. I'm trying to think, we could buy out Cashman, but I don't think it would be worth buying him out because he's going into the last year of his contract potentially. I don't normally buy people out either. Let me take a look at how much it would cost to buy him out. Just out of curiosity. Like, Cashman's been good here, though, at times, too. Like, if we look at the last few seasons for these guys compared, you could see that Cashman's been having some 60 points. He has dropped off a little bit the last few years, but if he gets into a top 6 role, he should produce. Wait, how much points does he have in his career? 342 and 571. Which, what does that equate to? I got to take a look at the points per game percentage on these guys. 341, 572. Let's see. That's 0.596 points per game, so right around 0.6 points per game. If we look at Mauricio Peterson, he's on 497 divided by 818. 497 divided by 818. 0.607. He's a tiny bit better. He's like a 0.61 points per game, basically, versus a 0.6 points per game. His last 3 years have been definitely better, too. 52 points, 63 points, 70 points. Cashman, 47, 50, 64. How much would it cost us to buy him out, or would it be like multiple years? Let me just see buyout for a second here. Would like to cost you... Would you like to buy out the contract for $2.667 million? And it would be 2 years of length. I don't like that it's 2 years of length, considering he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. No, I don't know if I should buy him out or not. I could hypothetically bring maybe both of them back. But there is also Stillman who could jump up potentially too. Like, there is guys in the system that could jump up. So I think as hard as it is, I'm going to let go of Peterson, even though he has been a little bit better. I think Cashman, since we already have him signed up for 1 more year, we might as well get rid of Peterson. Hopefully Peterson's a free agent again eventually, though, because I feel like he could be a good replacement for Cashman again. But for right now, we salute to Mauricio Peterson, former 10th overall selection. Very good centerman. But unfortunately, he's going to walk, I think. Should I let him walk? I honestly don't know. I have the cap space to bring him back, but also we do need the money for next offseason with Risto and all that. So, yeah, I think I got to let him go, unfortunately. So, best of luck to Peterson in free agency. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. Like I said, I need to make sure I have the money for Stelwitz and Ristolainen and stuff like that. But a lot of the big guys are losing morale because of me letting him go, which is not a great sign. Mahalik is a depth defenseman. I don't think I'm going to bring back Mahalik either. Let's take a look at the defense for a second here. Bell, Hunwick, Tulipov, Hutton, Narena, Mahalik is there. Yeah, I don't really need Mahalik because McLeod could, I honestly, take his spot. Yeah. I'm going to let go of Mahalik as well. He has been a bit injury prone in his career, but he's going to get a chance to go play somewhere else now. He's had some pretty good plus minus in his career. Like, that's one thing that I've really liked about Mahalik is his plus minus has always been pretty good. Maybe not in the playoffs, but in the regular season it has been. So, best of luck to Marek Mahalik. Hopefully he has a good time wherever he goes, and hopefully he stays healthy wherever he goes to. And then that means we're going to have enough money to probably give Hunwick what he's asking for. Almost. Because I think I could drop this down by 2 bars too. And I think Hunwick's definitely one of the best players on this defensive course, so we might as well give him some term. Even though it is a little bit risky with the money coming up next offseason. Like, I might have to buy out more people potentially if we have to re-sign Ristolainen and Stobitz potentially. So I'm going to go with 6.6 for 6 years for Hunwick. I think that's a good contract. It'll take him right till the end of the series with this team. So might as well do it. We'll see if he accepts that. And Malkin's already qualified. We have the cap space for Comrie and him. We should be good. Technically, I could have brought back some of those other guys, but I don't think I need to really bring them back. We might as well make some adjustments to the roster and see if that improves our team or not. All right, so we have some more scouts accepting, of course. And Hunwick is going to stick with that offer, so that's a pretty good contract. We get him on a 6-year deal, which means we aren't going to have to deal with him being a free agent at any time in this series, which is good. And then we just have these 2 guys that are RFAs with $12 million in cap space left. That's pretty good. All right, that's pretty tidy work. Any unsigned guys I would sign for the AHL? Johnson's pretty decent too. I almost forgot about Johnson. As a low 4, he's up to a 72. He could play in the AHL next season, but I don't know if we need a defenseman down there. Let me take a look at in the system here. Carlotti, Kavasha, Ackerstrom already signed, and we have Young that signed, Lawson. They technically do need another defenseman, at least. You know what? Let's sign Johnson since he's a low 4 and he's been growing pretty well, so might as well give him a chance at the AHL level as well. All right. I don't think there's anything else I need to re-sign, right? Just double check on stuff like this here. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we are good. So we have a lot of money in cap space to re-sign those 2 guys. And we might even have money left over for former players in free agency, but I don't think there's anything we really need anyways. Because I think we have some good young guys that are going to be jumping to our NHL team next season, which is exciting. So, a couple more scouts accepting before free agency, which is good. And we are ready to probably simulate up to next season. I could always do some off-season focuses, but I don't know if I want to. Because we're a pretty old team at this point. Like, we could try and help some guys stop from dropping off too much, but at the same time, I don't really know if I want to do that or not. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. So let's begin the sim up to next season and get ourselves set up. I don't think I want to get any new coaches, do I? Because we could always look for some other coaches. Like Bielis right now, obviously his game fit is going to be a little bit weird because it's the offseason. 70% it is now, though. That's interesting. But is there any other coaching options for like an assistant coach or something that I could potentially bring in? Let's see some of these fits here. 67, damn, that's actually pretty good. Let me take a look at our current associates or defensive and a forward. So let's see if there's any good options for defense and forward coaches. So there is Sopel, but Sopel's probably going to get a head coaching job somewhere. Anybody with a really good fit? 64. There's a 67 and Matt Barzal. It would be interesting having Matt Barzal in this year's as a coach, but he does want to be a head coach somewhere. I don't think he really fits our coaching staff, though, because we're all, like, A coaches, so he's kind of a lower-end coach, but that's kind of neat. If it was my Islanders series, I'd definitely look into it, but... Yeah, I don't think there's any coaches that I'm going to bring in. There is technically that guy that's a 67 that's looking kind of intriguing as an assistant coach, but I think likely he signs somewhere as an actual NHL head coach. He's also 65, which our current coaches in Nielsen... How old is he? 63. So our assistant coaches are a bit younger. Baines is 65. Hypothetically, I could let go of Baines and then try and get that other coach in. I don't know if that's a great idea, though. Because Baines used to be our head coach at one point, I think. So I think I'm going to keep the coaching staff the same for now. But at some point, maybe we can make some better coaching adjustments for our assistant coaches. I'm not too sure. So let's begin the sim up to next season. Actually, let's take a look at free agents just to see if any former guys are in the free agent pool. Just because that would be kind of interesting to see if anybody is available. Not that we'll be bringing in any former players anyways, but let's just see if there is any guys I remember that I almost forgot about. Del Monte, that's the goalie that I was mentioning about that used to play with us, I think. No, it's not. Who was the Del Monte dude? Oh, no, it is. No, it is. Yeah, it is definitely, right? No, it's not. This guy played in our AHL team now, right? No, that's Abbotsford. I thought that was Burnaby for a second. God damn, I'm confused. But yeah, this guy never played for us. There is a guy that I'm trying to remember, but he's probably already retired. Haracal is a free agent. Where was he last season? Montreal. He actually was a starting goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens. That's kind of weird. But yeah, he got a starting role in Montreal. 900 save percentage. Did not even get to the playoffs, but that's kind of interesting that he was their starter. Because I was expecting him to be a backup. Anybody else in terms of goalies? Doesn't look like it. What about for defensemen? Let's see. Any former defenders that I remember? It's kind of interesting to see if there's any guys that used to play with us or not. Not seeing anybody. Feels like all the guys that we used to have signed on other teams. It'll be interesting to see where guys like Mahalik sign. Let's see. If you guys could also remind me of all the players I let go of, and then we could take a look at where they went in free agency. Like, I'm not going to remember necessarily like Patrick and Lambert. Actually, maybe I would remember. And we'll see if I could remember all of them, and then I'll look for them in the ending of this episode just for fun. Left wingers. Yeah, I'm not seeing really a lot of former guys, unless they were the guys I literally just let go of. That's the only thing. Hopefully some of them get some good contracts places. Kim and Peterson are going to be the big two. Obviously, let's take a look at where they sign. That's going to be interesting. And they probably are going to get overpaid, potentially. And Heatley as well. Damn, that's a lot of players we'd let go of. I actually might just open up a notepad file here and type in who I'd let go of, just so I remember. Because that way we could actually find everybody where they signed. So, Kim, Patrick, Heatley, Peterson... who was the other one that I say? Oh yeah, Lambert. And the other one was Mahalik. Damn, we let go of a lot of guys from the core. But it makes sense. I think that's all of them, right? There wasn't anybody else on this side. Yeah, I don't think there was anybody else. Okay, so now that I wrote down at least 6 names, hopefully that's everybody. If there is other players I'd let go of and I don't remember for some reason, let me know, and then I'll look for them at the start of the next episode. But let's begin the sim up to next season and see what we're looking like. So Malkin already accepts the qualifying offer. That's good to see. So welcome back to Malkin. We just have one more RFA holding out, and that is Comrie. He's holding out a little bit longer, but we should be able to get him as well back, because he was only asking for like a couple million. Let me stop the sim here, see what he's asking for now at this stage. But we probably will be able to easily afford him. Let me see. Let's go RFAs. Comrie, what are you asking for now, buddy? Oh yeah, 1.85. Take the money. Alright, so that's all those guys dealt with. How much did we end up playing to Malkin, out of curiosity? 1.21 again. That's pretty good. And he's an RFA again at the end of the year, as I was anticipating, so that's good. That is good. Alright, so we should have a pretty good looking roster going into next season. The bottom 6 is going to be probably a little bit more of a work in progress, just because we're letting go of so many players, but I'm interested to see how good this team is this upcoming season, because losing Kim is kind of a big loss, but Dunham should be able to fill that void easily. Losing Patrick and Heatley and the Petersons, the bottom 6 guys, not as huge of a loss, but I'm not too sure on how good our youngsters are that are going to be taking over that bottom 6 role. So let's get this lineup set up here and make sure we have all the right guys in the right places. So if we go to roster moves here and we look at our players, Jesus, this is probably the worst case scenario for our goaltending. We literally have 2 elite goaltenders. Means we're going to literally be not making the playoffs or something like that. But Malkin definitely should have the starting job. But Gianta's still here is really solid, at least in my opinion. And if we have any injuries, at least we have 2 good goaltenders. From a defensive standpoint, we don't need to have 8 defenders in the NHL. So we have, let's see. We will send down Seagal for sure. I'll use Seguin as a depth defenseman. Petterman could play as that right defenseman to basically replace Mahalik. He could play with like Narena on the top 6. Hunnan and Hunwick and stuff will be in the top 4. Bell and Tulipov will also be top 4. That defensive core still looks pretty good, which is nice to see. Anybody that deserves to be called up? McLeod. Wow. Okay, I forgot about McLeod. We should probably have him up here. Sagan's actually listed as a top 6 defenseman, so... Carlotti's also pretty good. He's listed as a depth defenseman at 20. I'm going to move Seagal up actually again and send Sagan down just because of the ice time complaints likely. But... That's not great. McLeod should probably be in the NHL. Probably should be. I could play him instead of Petterman. And then Petterman goes down. But I also have a lot of left-handers. We also do have 1 offensive defenseman. So it would be nice to have McLeod up here for the start of the season. And I mean, he's looking really good. Like, he could end up winning Rookie of the Year. I could give him 1 year in the AHL. Is that a bad thing to give him 1 year in the AHL? I'll let you guys decide on that. Should we call up McLeod and let him play already? Or should we have Michael Peterman playing instead, or Petterman? Because both these guys are pretty good in different ways. Like, Petterman's good defensively, not so much in his awareness, but he could play on the right side. Obviously, the best case scenarios for us down the road is Narena to retire, and then McLeod takes his spot. But we have a logjam on defense still, but a lot of good prospects at least. And I'd prefer to use Seagal as the depth defenseman over Sagan or something like that, just because Sagan's listed as top 6. Carlotti's a young defenseman, so probably not wanting to scratch him. But we do have some right-handers coming up, which is good to see. So, do we run this as our defensive core, or do we make him McLeod instead of Petterman? That's interesting. I feel like we run Petterman instead, because Petterman would be on the top 6 with Narena, and if we obviously had McLeod up here, we'd have literally 2 offensive defensemen on that top 6 pairing. We might as well wait until Narena retires, which could be this season, for McLeod to come up. So, yeah, we'll probably do that, I think. In terms of our offensive core, Stowitz, Dunham, Doig, and Robertson, that looks fantastic. Everybody's listed in a perfect role, too. 4th line, 3rd line, 2nd line, and 1st line. Anybody should come up? No. Reefers is close, though. Left lane, Kolars, Delisle, Malak. That's pretty weak. I mean, Malak is listed as a 3rd line scoring forward, and Delisle is as well, so they might actually jump up a bit. But that's a bit weak. Centers, Risto, Cashman, Comrie, Kopitz, and Stillman. We do have a couple roster spaces to call up as depth options. So I think we'll call up, is Hansen? Hansen's a low 6. Damn, he's a low 6. Okay. You know what? Since he's a low 6, I don't know if he'll grow really that much more. He's actually listed as a depth forward too. So we'll call him up as one of those depth forward options. And we will probably call up Peterson as the other one since he's a vet. I feel like we're definitely low on players for some reason. It seems kind of strange, but let's call those guys up here. Actually, did I see Kopitz in the AHL or no? Make more roster moves. No, Kopitz I think is in the NHL, right? Yeah, he is. Okay. Let's go best lines for a second and set this up here. But yeah, our bottom 6 is going to be a bit weird, but it should be still doable. So we definitely want to keep the right wing pool like this. This is definitely how it should be. Stowitz, Dunham, Doig, and Robertson. Exactly what I want. Kopitz, Comrie, Cashman, and Risto. Think that's good too. Kolars, Delisle, Malak. Peterson shouldn't be in the lineup. Who is scratched that shouldn't be? Narena got scratched. That's is kind of a surprise. Stillman could probably be in the lineup instead. How good is Kopitz's face-off? 73, not the best. Let's get him up there. And let's get Stillman down the middle. Stillman's also a grinder too. But Stillman should probably be playing. That gives us 2 grinders on our 4th line. That's kind of an interesting line. And then a sniper, though, next to them. I don't know if I want a sniper on that. I could literally have us have an entire 4th line of grinders if I wanted to, but they're all right-handed. That's the only problem. I guess Kopitz would have to be down there, probably. Yeah, it's probably the best spot for him for now. Defensively, I do not want Seagal in the lineup for sure. So I'm going to rework this a little bit here. I'm going to go like something like, let's see, like that. And then we had to take Seagal out and get Narena into the spot here. There we go. Okay, so the defensive core looks still pretty solid. Looks pretty solid still. Narena is still listed as a top 4, but he might end up retiring at the end of the season. Goaltending looks friggin' strong as shit. Yeah, this is looking good. This is looking good still. Our power play doesn't have the best chemistry on this first unit. I don't know why Kopitz and Malak are on this unit. I could leave Kopitz on it hypothetically so he gets more ice time. Let's get Narena also on this power play unit, because Narena should still run a power play. Hunwick could run the second unit. That's fine. Alright. I don't know about having Doig on the power play, though. Dunham, Cashman. And we could probably put... who was that other guy that was up there? Malak. Or Delisle. I could put Delisle on this power play, I think. Oh, man. -2. Who's not fit in this unit? Dunham and Cashman. We might have to look at our coaching and see if it's actually a good fit or not. Penalty kill looks pretty good. I mean, Dunham and Robertson. Robertson doesn't take face-offs. Oh, no, he does. Okay. So we could use Robertson as that center on that penalty kill unit. So our penalty kill is looking kind of strong, which is nice to see. All right. Yeah, I don't mind that. Do not mind that. Has anybody dropped off considerably on our top 6? So Kolar's is still elite, so he's not going to drop off yet, which is good. Risto is down to exact top 9, so this could be the last season of Kari Ristolainen's career. He's just continuing to drop off a lot faster than anticipated. He is 35. He could be like an 84 before the season ends, which is not good. And then Staubitz is still exact top 6, so I think Staubitz is going to go longer than Risto. And then we already saw Narena. But damn, this team is getting old. This team is getting old. Let's go best lines in the AHL for a second, see if there's anybody scratched. There's nobody scratched, so that's good. And then defensively, let's go with McLeod up a little bit. Carlotti could go down. That looks fine. That looks good. Okay. So yeah, having Ryder McLeod down there in the AHL, like I said, he's going to be probably crazy good in the AHL, because he should be in the NHL hypothetically, and he has some really good attributes. So I would like to have him on our NHL team right now this season, but I think 1 year in the AHL is not a bad option for him. And then maybe he could do really good, get up to like an 82 for next season, and then he could probably jump into our top 4 potentially. But at the same time, who the heck leaves our top 4? Hutton's a pending RFA at the end of the year. Tulipov has 1 more year left. It's going to be interesting trying to get all these defensemen ice time. Okay, so that's all set and ready to go. Is there any other things we got to do before we end the episode? Oh yeah, find out where those former players signed. That's what we want to take a look at. Also take a look at our coach for a second here, because I do want to see how good of a fit he is right now with our team. So how good does Bielis fit this team? He is a 63. All right. If I demote him temporarily, how good is Nielsen as our head coach? Probably worse, right? 65. Damn, Nielsen's actually the best so far. That's kind of surprising. And Baines is a 53. So Baines could get replaced at some point, but we could use Nielsen as a head coach maybe. Let me take a look at how good the chemistry looks with Nielsen on board. See if it gets rid of anything here potentially. So our offensive chemistry looks a bit better, I think. So yeah, the defensive chemistry, not as good with this coach, even though he's a defensive coach. So I honestly might keep the other coach instead, or look for a different coach. I'm not too sure. The power play chemistry does improve with this coach, though, which is good. Like, there's no minus on it like there was before. The penalty kill, though, +5 on that first unit, 0 on the second, and -1 on the third. So the PK gets a little bit worse on some units, but other units gets better. So I'm not too sure if we want to go with this guy as our head coach, or we want to go with the other guy that was originally our head coach as the head coach. So we will temporarily put Bielis as our head coach again, and put Nielsen as associate. Is there anybody out there that's better fit than a 65, I think it was? Sopel is still out there. Only a 61 though now. Okay, so he's not a 67. 66 for Roman Prusik. This guy's not too bad, but he doesn't fit every single player really on this roster. 61 to Matt Barzal. 66 in Carl Vrana. We could always bring in one of these higher-end team fit coaches, but I don't know if it's necessary. All right. Final thing, let's take a look at where all those former players signed. So there is a bit of craziness in terms of how many players we let go of. There might be more that I didn't even write down, but let's see where all these guys signed. And hopefully none of them signed with a rival, because that'd be kind of scary. So we're going to start with the worst to the best. So we're going to start off with Mahalik, the young, well, not really young. I guess he was kind of young, 27, but right defenseman. He signed with the Minnesota Wild. Let me actually just remove my face for this part so you guys can actually see the contract and stuff. He signed with the Minnesota Wild, though. And he's getting a 2-year deal at 2.675, so right around what he was asking from us. Not too bad. No clause, obviously. Good stuff for Mahalik. And hopefully he gets some playing time. Hopefully they don't just scratch him. So he goes from the Aliens to the Wild. Where did Lambert go? So now we're getting into those bottom 6 kind of guys to see where they signed. So Lambert, he signed with the Seattle Kraken. Interesting. And he got a 1-year deal at less than $1 million. So maybe we could have held on to him just to make our bottom 6 stronger. But it's not the end of the world to lose him. We could always bring him back next offseason if he's a free agent again. But hopefully he also gets some playing time. He is listed as a third-line scoring forward, so I don't know if I would have been able to get him a ton of ice time if he even was back with us. But shout out to Lambert joining the Kraken. The next player we're going to look at is Heatley. Heatley, obviously, like I said, was in that bottom 6 for a while. Won a Stanley Cup with us. Where did he go at this point in time? He joined the Buffalo Sabres. Oof. Poor him. He got a 3-year deal at 1.15, so nice little contract for him. Maybe till he retires, because he is 31 already. But he got some term. No clause, obviously, but a $1.5 million contract. That's not bad for a fourth-line kind of guy. So good to see him have a little bit of solidity to his contract. Hopefully they actually play him and don't scratch him. He was a really good steal for us, because he was a late pick, and he ended up playing. Kind of sucks that he didn't end up being anything crazy, but at least he helped out our bottom 6 at certain times. Alright, the one that's kind of a bit weird that we'd let go of is Patrick, just because he's only 25, but we did get ourselves a nice lowly grinder this year, so it made sense to let go of the Enforcer. He signed with the New Jersey Devils, so the Devils have themselves a face puncher now. He is getting a 1-year deal with them at 1.64, so a little trial run contract for him as a Devil. We'll see if he ends up playing there and if he ends up staying there, but good for him to get a contract with the New Jersey Devils. Okay. Now we get into the big 2. We're going to start off with Peterson, because Peterson is technically a lower overall. This one was one that I don't know if I should have still let go of or not. Maybe I could have bought out Cashman for the year. I don't really know. But where did Peterson sign? And not our former Peterson. Did I spell wrong? Yeah, I think I did. It's with an E. There's so many last Petersons that we've had, I think, that I forgot how it was spelled. I think it's with an E. Yeah, I think it's him right here. He signed with the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit, he got a modified no-trade clause, so shout out to him. And he got $8.205 million for 4 years. So we probably could have got him on a reduced rate and around the same amount of term without the clause too. So maybe we should have held on to him, but he will be there till he is like 33 at least. Hopefully he gets to free agency at some stage before the series ends, but he's going to be joining the Red Wings, which is kind of weird. And like I said, he has a modified no-trade clause. That one, like I said, was definitely probably the toughest one to let go of, because Rick Kim makes a lot of sense for us to let go of. How much is Rick Kim getting paid? I feel like he's going to get overpaid probably in free agency, right? He signed with the Colorado Avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche. Okay, so he thinks he can win a cup in Denver. Let's see, 87 overall, 30 years of age. He got a full no movement clause. Colorado, what did you pay him? What did you pay him? $9.35 million, but how much term? 7 years. Well, Rick Kim's career is gone. We are not going to ever see this guy again on our team. He has decided to sign with the Avs for 7 years at 9.35 with a full-on no movement clause. Does it last every single year? Pretty much every year. 4 years out of the 7 years, and then becomes modified. But Rick Kim got himself the bag. And this contract could end up being really good maybe for them. I don't know how good he's going to do with the Avs, but he's coming off 2 of his lower point seasons, and he's already 30 years old, and now he's signed for 7 years. So, honestly, don't know what he's going to do in Colorado, but he's probably going to get a decent amount of ice time there, I'd assume. And who knows, maybe he'll succeed. But that's a pretty rough contract. I actually do want to take a look at Colorado's team here briefly, just to see where he potentially slots into the roster. So he's probably going to get the play on the top line with Anton Frundell and this Cairns dude. Clifford Cairns. So it's going to be an 87, an 87, and an 87. That's not a bad top line. Frundell's a pending UFA at the end of the year, but Rick Kim's probably going to play down the middle on that top line, my guess. Sutton could be on that top line too, but Colorado is making an interesting signing with Rick Kim. They only have $2 million in cap space, so we'll see what Rick Kim does next season with Colorado. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Albuquerque Aliens Draft Glory Franchise Mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the season sim. We'll see what ends up happening with this team. Like I said, it's a bit of a work in progress, that bottom 6, and the defensive core seems to be pretty strong still, even with letting go of like Mahalik, for instance. But I think we have a little bit of a logjam, but I'm excited to see what some of the young guys could do. Like that guy we just drafted, I don't know if he's going to put up the most points in the world, but I think he could be a good short-handed player because he's got good defensive stats. He's got an X factor. And I think since he's a grinder, he might take a lot of penalty minutes, but I think he's going to be a nice little addition to that bottom 6 for our team. So I think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.